So, im Namen des Frobenius-Instituts, der Frobenius-Gesellschaft heiße ich Sie hier alle sehr willkommen. Ich freue mich, dass Sie so zahlreich erschienen sind. Bevor wir mit dem offiziellen Teil beginnen, würde ich ganz kurz mit Ihnen durch das Programm gehen und Ihnen ein paar Dinge noch erläutern. Und dann beginnt der offizielle Teil. Sie haben das, glaube ich, alle auf Ihren Sitzen liegen gehabt. Also, wir werden zunächst eine kleine musikalische Eröffnung haben, und zwar von Abbas, der da hinten steht, und der Sänger und Komponist aus dem Senegal ist. Er war letztes Jahr schon hier und seine Musik hat uns so begeistert, dass wir einstimmig oder einhellig ihn wieder haben wollten für das heutige Ereignis. Und wenn Sie mehr über ihn wissen möchten, auf der Rückseite des Programms ganz unten in der Fußnote ist eine kleine Erklärung zu ihm, seinem Musikstil. Und Sie sehen, er hat mehrere musikalische Intermezzi in unserem Programm. Wir beginnen also mit Abbas und seinem ersten Stück. Dann werde ich eine Laudatio auf, das kann ich schon sagen, den Preisträger halten, und anschließend wird der Preisträger selbst eine kurze Präsentation über seine Dissertation geben. Ich habe meine Rede auf Englisch übersetzt und die sind, glaube ich, gerade herumgegeben worden. Ich hatte 10 Exemplare mitgebracht meiner Rede, also wer das verfolgen möchte. Wenn noch keine hat, setzt sich vielleicht neben jemanden. If you don't have a translation of my speech, please sit next to somebody who has one. Okay. Und der Vortrag selbst des Preisträgers wird dann wiederum auch auf Englisch sein. Dann, nach einem weiteren kurzen musikalischen Intermezzo, geht es weiter mit den Buchvorstellungen. Wir sind ziemlich stolz, wie viel dieses Jahr und letztes produziert wurde. Sie können die da hinten auf dem Tisch sich nachher auch mal physisch anschauen. Wir werden hier zum Teil in Vertretung derjenigen, die die Bücher verfasst haben, Ihnen die vorstellen. Und danach und mehreren kleinen weiteren Intermezzo werden wir dann Sie alle zum Buffet bitten, das wie in den letzten Jahren oben aufgebaut wird im Salon. Und letztes Mal haben irgendwie alle auf mich gewartet, bis sie anfangen. Und das war etwas schwierig, weil ich hier unten natürlich noch viel zu tun hatte. Also Sie haben von mir die Erlaubnis, ans Buffet zu rennen und sich zu bedienen. Man kann dort sehr schön sitzen, es gibt tolle Getränke, und genießen Sie dann den Abend. So viel also von meiner Seite vorweg. Wir werden das hier aufnehmen. Ich glaube aber nicht, dass Sie zu sehen sein werden, vielleicht höchstens hier Personen in den vordersten Reihen. Wenn Sie das nicht möchten, sagen Sie uns das bitte, dann würden wir irgendwie schauen, dass wir Sie nochmal dann anders hinsetzen. Es werden auch nachher ein paar Fotos gemacht, aber die betreffen vor allen Dingen den Preisträger und mich. Und ja, damit habe ich, glaube ich, jetzt alles gesagt. Und Abbas, it's your turn.
So, hallo Leute, tut mir leid. Der war kleine Error technisch. So, hallo alle zusammen. Ihr könnt auch klatschen, ja?
For some time. So I switch to German now, if you allow me. Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, seien Sie herzlich willkommen zur diesjährigen Preisverleihung des Forschungsförderungspreises der Frobenius-Gesellschaft für die aus unserer Sicht beste kulturanthropologische Dissertation im deutschsprachigen Raum. Ich freue mich, Sie wirklich so zahlreich hier in diesen sehr schönen Räumlichkeiten des Forschungskollegs Humanwissenschaften der Goethe-Universität begrüßen zu dürfen, mit dem uns schon seit einigen Jahren jetzt eine sehr enge und fruchtbare Kooperation verbindet. Besonders bedanken möchte ich mich bei dem Leiter dieses Forschungskollegs, meinem Kollegen Matthias Lutz-Bachmann, der gerade unserem Institut immer sehr mit Rat zur Seite steht, und auch Iris Koban und Beate Sutterlüte, die Sie vielleicht auch kennen, die diesen Laden hier koordinieren und vor allen Dingen sich auch um unsere Fellows kümmern, die wir jedes Jahr hier unterbringen und die hier in Bad Homburg einfach eine tolle Atmosphäre für ihr Denken und Schreiben finden. Wie Sie vielleicht wissen, wird der Forschungsförderungspreis seit 1996, Dorothea Schulz war damals die erste Preisträgerin, verliehen, also mit kleinen Unterbrechungen insgesamt jetzt seit 28 Jahren. Die Frobenius-Gesellschaft ruft dazu immer im Frühjahr die Professorinnen und Professoren in Deutschland, Österreich und der Schweiz auf, jene kulturanthropologische Arbeit zu nominieren, die Sie für die besten Ihres Jahrgangs halten, die also mindestens mit Magna Cum Laude, möglichst noch besser bewertet wurden, die sich durch die Qualität ihrer Ethnographie, die Originalität des Themas, Klarheit von Argumentation und Aufbau sowie besonders auch sprachliche Kunstfertigkeit auszeichnen. Die vorgeschlagenen Dissertationen werden dann von einer Kommission des Frobenius-Instituts begutachtet und verglichen, bevor wir jährlich im Rahmen, wie heute der Frankfurter Buchmesse, den Preis für die beste Arbeit verleihen. Der Preis ist, wie Sie vielleicht wissen, mit 3.000 € dotiert, die uns dankenswerterweise von der Frobenius-Gesellschaft und der sogenannten Hahn-Hissink'schen Frobenius-Stiftung zur Verfügung gestellt werden. Ich möchte die Gelegenheit nutzen, den inzwischen 4 Kollegen, von denen heute auch Herr Meyer-Wegerlin, wo ist er da? Hier ist also Herr Meyer-Wegerlin, Herr Eckert, Herr Schmieder und Herr Burlauf besonders danken, da Sie als Vorstandsmitglieder dieser Gesellschaft diese Stiftung leiten und ihre Mittel im Sinne der Förderung unserer Fächer der Kulturanthropologie verwalten. Also meinen herzlichsten Dank für diese uneigennützige und völlig ehrenamtliche Tätigkeit. Danke sehr. Auch dieses Jahr hatte es die Kommission wieder nicht sehr leicht, sich für eine Arbeit zu entscheiden, denn die eingereichten Dissertationen zeichneten sich allesamt durch sehr hohe wissenschaftliche Qualität aus, nicht verwunderlich, weil es ja die besten Arbeiten dieser Universitäten waren, und repräsentierten wichtige Bereiche unserer kulturanthropologischen Forschung. Es gab aber eine Arbeit, die aus Sicht der Kommission eine ganz besonders herausragende fachliche Leistung darstellt, vor allem angesichts der Komplexität des behandelten Themas, aber auch angesichts der Herausforderungen der Feldforschung, und zwar sowohl der epistemologischen, der logistischen und der sozialen und sprachlichen Herausforderungen dieser Forschung. Es handelt sich um eine Dissertation, die über einen Zeitraum von, und jetzt meine Doktoranden bitte nicht zuhören, 10 Jahren entstanden ist, für die der Verfasser mehrere Sprachen erlernte, sich in schwer zugängliche Gebiete vorarbeitete, vom Fischen über Jagen zu Reisanbau und Ritualen ganz neue Praktiken erlernte und sich, wie ich finde, mit sehr viel Imaginationskraft in eine ganz neue, unsichtbare, da transzendente Welt hineinversetzte. Diese von uns besonders wertgeschätzte Dissertation trägt den Titel Conquering Mountains and Taming Demons. Toller Titel, finde ich. Und der Verfasser ist Dr. Joseba Estevez, der extra zur heutigen Preisverleihung aus Hongkong angereist ist und dem ich hiermit im Namen der Frobenius-Gesellschaft meinen herzlichsten Glückwunsch für diese großartige Leistung aussprechen möchte. Sein Doktorvater, der auch übrigens irgendwann mal mein Mentor war, Professor Dr. Josephus Platenkamp, kann leider heute aus persönlichen Gründen nicht an der Preisverleihung teilnehmen. Er hat aber Frau Stefanie Osterheider gebeten, ihn hier zu vertreten. Frau Osterheider hat als Mitarbeiterin des Ethnologischen Instituts in Münster, wie ich hörte, den Preisträger viele Jahre unterstützt. Und damit haben auch Sie einen wichtigen Beitrag zu diesem Erfolg geleistet. Ich würde Sie daher beide kurz bitten, zur Preisverleihung hier nach vorne zu kommen. Bitte schön. Und jetzt kann, glaube ich, Sören gleich mal Fotos machen. Wir müssen mal gucken, wie wir das machen. Vielleicht da mit diesem, das sieht so aus, als wenn wir im Wald stehen. So, das ist besser. Also zum einen möchte ich Ihnen, Herr Esteves, er versteht, glaube ich, sehr, sehr gut Deutsch, war lange in Deutschland, darum bleibe ich beim Deutschen jetzt. Zum einen die Urkunde überreichen vom Vorstandsvorsitzenden der Gesellschaft und mir unterschrieben für den Forschungsförderungspreis des Jahres 2024. Und dazu gehört auch dieser Scheck, der also über den genannten Betrag ist und auf den Sie bitte gut aufpassen. Genau. So, und zum Schluss möchte ich Ihnen noch einen Blumenstrauß gratulieren und also meinen herzlichen Glückwunsch für alles aussprechen. Alles Gute. Dankeschön. So, jetzt machen wir vielleicht mal noch ein Foto nur mit, einmal mit uns allen dreien. Frau Osterheider, kommt. Ach so, das geht nicht. Dann gehen wir ein bisschen hier rüber. Kommen wir hier rüber. So, danke für den Hinweis. So, einmal wir drei.
1, 2, 3.
Ja, super.
Locker.
Noch eins, gerne.
Und
So,
ein
und dann einmal Frau Osterheider, würde ich nur mit Herrn Essen. Ja, danke schön. Okay, super. Toll, dass Sie gekommen sind extra.
Nee. 1, 2, 3.
Wunderbar.
Wunderbar.
Schön. Okay.
So,
Gut, sehr schön. Vielen Dank, Sören. Wir werden eine Pressemitteilung dann machen, da werden dann diese Fotos aufgenommen. Dann würde ich jetzt Sie bitten, noch mal kurz sich hinzusetzen. Gut. So, jetzt möchte ich kurz die Gelegenheit für eine Laudatio auf diese Arbeit aus Sicht der Kommission geben und damit beginnen zu sagen, dass Herr Dr. José Esteves seine erste akademische Ausbildung an der Universität des Baskenlandes in Spanien erhalten hat, und zwar nicht in Ethnologie, sondern, wie ich mit Interesse gelesen habe, in Informationswissenschaften. Und wenn ich mir Ihre Arbeiten heutzutage anschaue, hat das sicherlich auch damit zu tun, dass Sie dort eine besondere Ausbildung bekommen haben. Einige Jahre später verschlug es ihn dann an die Westfälische Wilhelms-Universität in Münster, wo er begann, sich mit Ethnologie und Südostasien-Studien zu befassen. Sein Masterstudium schloss er mit einer Arbeit zu Irian also Ozeanien, ab. Und diese mit 1,0 bewertete Abschlussarbeit behandelt ein Thema aus der Wirtschaftsethnologie. Konkret geht es da um den Einfluss nationaler und internationaler Ökonomien auf lokale Austauschsysteme. Wieder einige Jahre später, ich glaube es war so 2011, wandte er sich dann der Erforschung einer ganz anderen Region zu, die an der Universität Münster damals durch den inzwischen pensionierten Kollegen Josef Platenkamp sowie durch meinen anderen Kollegen Volker Grabowski vertreten wurde, der, glaube ich, Sie auch intensiv betreut hat bei dieser Arbeit. Und zwar das Festland Südostasien, insbesondere Laos, aber auch die nördlichen Grenzregionen, also zu Vietnam, China und Thailand. Dieses Gebiet zeichnet sich aus kulturanthropologischer Sicht durch eine, wie ich finde, kaum fassbare Komplexität aus. Verschiedenste Sprachen, Dutzende ethnische Minderheiten, ein Mix aus diversen Religionen, kulturellen Praktiken, wirtschaftlichen Lebensformen und politischen Ordnungen. Bis heute hat diese Region unseren Preisträger nicht mehr losgelassen und seine Liste an Projekten, die er seit seiner ersten Reise nach Laos eingeworben hat und durchgeführt hat, ist mehr als beachtlich. Er hat umfangreiche Drittmittel eingeworben, um sich zusammen mit Kolleginnen und Kollegen aus Münster, aus Heidelberg, aus Hamburg und jetzt aus Hongkong mit den Texten, Manuskripten, Ritualen und dem kulturellen Erbe insbesondere jener ethnischen Gruppe zu befassen, die auch im Mittelpunkt seiner Dissertation steht, den Lanten. Die Lanten, die sich selbst, das kennen wir aus der Ethnologie, Menschen oder Personen nennen, also Mun nennen, sind eine von 39 ethnischen Minderheiten, die in der Luang-Namta-Provinz von Laos leben. Anders als die Laoten sprechen die Lanten eine Sprache aus der Hmong-Lien-Familie, die mir auch aus Indien bekannt ist. Sie verwenden in ihren Ritualen aber auch zum Beispiel chinesischsprachige Texte. Während die meisten Laoten Theravada-Buddhisten sind, ist das rituelle System der Lanten stark durch Daoisten, chinesische Buddhisten und Konfuzianisten geprägt. Es enthält Elemente von Ahnenverehrung und Animismus. Allein diese wenigen Fakten zeigen, glaube ich, mit welch komplexer Situation es unser Preisträger zu tun hatte, als er sich die Aufgabe stellte, die, wie er es nennt, Cosmovision der Lanten zu verstehen. Das Ergebnis ist eine mit Summa cum laude bewertete Arbeit, die uns auf gut, auch da hören meine Doktoranden bitte weg, 500 Seiten in eine Welt einführt, in der jenen Personen eine zentrale Bedeutung zukommt, die als Priester und Meister durch ritualisierte Handlungen eine Verbindung zwischen den Menschen und den sie umgebenden Wesen und Kräften herstellen. Um uns diese Welt zu vermitteln, hat der Verfasser jahrelang wirklich Feldforschungen durchgeführt, Alltags- und, was besonders schwer ist, Ritualsprachen gelernt, wurde in das Leben der Lanten integriert, unter anderem, und das fand ich sehr beeindruckend, indem ihn sein wichtigster Forschungspartner als Priester und Meister initiierte. Dies hat ihn in die Lage versetzt, uns tiefe Einblicke in den Aufbau dieses Soziokosmos der Lanten, in ihr Ritualsystem und in ihre gemeinschaftlichen Handlungen für die Person, das Haus, die Familie und vor allen Dingen auch, und da hören meine Doktoranden bitte zu, für den Reisanbau zu geben. Dabei deckt er die vielfältigen Beziehungen auf, die aus Sicht der Lanten zwischen den dualen Welten der sichtbaren Welt, Yam Kaang, und der unsichtbaren Welt, Yang Kaang, existieren. Die aktive Interaktion mit der spirituellen Welt erfordert aus der Perspektive der Lanten einen, wie es der Verfasser nennt, rituell-bürokratischen Ansatz. Denn, und das finde ich sehr interessant, denn die spirituellen Wesen dieses Kosmos werden als Herrscher über eine hochmilitarisierte und bürokratisierte Verwaltung gesehen. Menschen können in dieser unserer Welt nicht überleben, wenn sie nicht Allianzen mit diesen spirituellen Kräften eingehen, die ihnen das Leben geben, aber auch nehmen können. Diese zentrale Bedeutung des Rituals als bürokratischer Akt im Umgang mit spirituellen Herrschern, von denen alles Leben abhängt, macht verständlich, warum der Preisträger sich in seiner Arbeit so intensiv und ausführlich mit Priestern, Meistern und ihren Handlungen befasst. Diese Rituale sind für die Lanten ganz offensichtlich nicht etwas Nebensächliches, also nicht nur Freitag in die Moschee oder Samstag in die Synagoge oder Sonntag in die Kirche zu gehen. Die rituelle Bürokratie im Umgang mit den spirituellen Institutionen ist so zentral für die Lanten, wie für uns vielleicht das Ausfüllen von Anträgen, Formularen und Steuererklärungen im Umgang mit staatlichen Institutionen. Dieser Vergleich hilft vielleicht, einen Zugang zu diesem Werk zu finden, denn die kosmologischen Vorstellungen der Lanten sind ganz deutlich geprägt von ihren Erfahrungen mit chinesischen Herrschern und ihrer Bürokratie, aber auch von der Vorstellung, dass diese bürokratische Welt halt nicht im Sinne Webers entzaubert ist, sondern aus zahlreichen Domänen besteht, die von Ahnen, Geistern, Dämonen, Göttern und diversen anderen spirituellen Kräften durchdrungen wird. Aus den detaillierten ethnografischen Beschreibungen des Preisträgers geht hervor, dass für die Lanten diese Welt und der ritualbürokratische Umgang mit ihr auf Ordnungen basiert, die durch viele binäre Oppositionen hierarchisch strukturiert sind. Wer solche dualen Ordnungen nicht aus eigenen Forschungen kennt, mag manche der ethnografischen Beschreibungen in diesem Werk als Produkte einer strukturalistischen Theorie verstehen, die von außen den Daten übergestülpt wird und eine starre bzw. statische Repräsentation der Lanten und ihrer Lebenswelt erzeugt. Bei der genauen Lektüre des Werkes wird aber deutlich, dass diese dualen Oppositionen sehr dynamisch sind und dass es vor allen Dingen die Lanten selbst sind, die sich ein Bild von den sichtbaren und unsichtbaren Welten machen, indem sie immer wieder zweiteilen und dann vielfältige Beziehungen zwischen diesen Oppositionen herstellen. Einmal gedanklich, aber auch durch ihr Handeln. Man mag erneut den Vergleich mit einer staatlich-bürokratischen Ordnung ziehen, in der Beamte durch Satzungen, Geschäftsordnungen und DIN-Verordnungen Handeln strukturieren und Voraussehbarkeit schaffen. Im Soziokosmos der Lanten, so wie ich das verstanden habe, wird genau dies durch Rituale von Priestern und Meistern gewährleistet, die zwischen all diesen dualen Dingen und Welten vermitteln und dabei sehr dynamisch den Fluss des Lebens aufrechterhalten. Oberflächlich betrachtet mag diese Arbeit vielleicht einigen Leserinnen und Lesern als klassisch religions-ethnologisches Werk auf Grundlage strukturalistischer Theorie erscheinen. Ich selbst verstehe sie als Ausdruck einer holistischen und vor allen Dingen kollaborativen Forschung, in der der Verfasser durch die Vermittlung der Lanten und durch seine doppelte Initiation, einmal als Feldforscher und zum anderen als Priester und Meister, zu dem Kern ihres Denkens und Handelns vorgestoßen ist. Mit seiner Arbeit ist Dr. Esteves zu einem Übersetzer von Weltanschauungen geworden, die uns nach der Lektüre des Werkes gar nicht mehr so unvertraut erscheinen. Die vorliegende Dissertation, und damit komme ich langsam zum Ende, ist dabei nur eine von vielen Ergebnissen dieser engen, bis heute andauernden Kollaboration. Seit Jahren nutzt der Preisträger im Rahmen mehrerer Projekte sein Wissen im Interesse der Lanten, sei es, indem er an der audiovisuellen Dokumentation ihrer Gesellschaft und Kultur mitwirkt, ihre Manuskripte digitalisiert und schriftliche Corpora der Lanten auf kollaborative Weise entwickelt. All diese Projekte befähigen ihn gegenwärtig, sich als Postdoktorand der Universität Hongkong auch ganz neuen Themen und Entwicklungen in seiner Forschungsregion zu widmen. Etwa den Auswirkungen der laotisch-chinesischen Eisenbahn auf lokale Gemeinschaften. Oder, was wir auch aus Indien gut kennen, die Entstehung von Smart Cities und Megaprojekten in der Region, wo sie geforscht haben, in Nordlaos. Aus meiner Sicht machen diese Vorhaben zur Herausforderung der Gegenwart auch die immense Bedeutung ethnografischer Forschung zur Interdependenz von sozialer Morphologie, Mythos, rituellem Austausch und Kosmologie in Südostasien und China deutlich. Es sind nämlich genau solche holistischen Studien, welche erst die Voraussetzung für das Verständnis von Wandlungen in Gesellschaften liefern, die seit Jahrhunderten nicht nur sprachlich und kulturell im Austausch stehen, sondern sich auch sozial und kosmologisch, und das sieht man in ihrer Arbeit sehr schön, wechselseitig beeinflusst haben. Zusammengefasst möchte die Kommission also mit der heutigen Preisverleihung eine besondere ethnografische Leistung würdigen, welche die Grundlage für eine hervorragende Dissertation bildete, die uns die Cosmovision einer ethnischen Minderheit auf detaillierte und verständliche Weise näher bringt und uns vermittelt, wie Beziehungen zu transzendenten Instanzen die Form einer, das finde ich wirklich faszinierend, rituellen Bürokratie annehmen, welche durch die historischen Beziehungen zu chinesischen Staatsbeamten geprägt ist. Ich möchte dem Preisträger im Namen der Kommission und der Frobenius-Gesellschaft noch einmal ausdrücklich zu diesem Erfolg gratulieren und freue mich jetzt darauf, von Ihnen selbst in die wichtigsten Ergebnisse Ihrer Arbeit eingeführt werden. Also, alles herzlichen Glückwunsch. Kommen Sie doch, Herr Esteves. Müsste funktionieren. Bitte.
Well, first is thank you so much for this prize that is so emotional for me because I think this is the most important prize in Germany in anthropology. So to receive this prize it's very important. It honors my work, but also my master, my mentor is also Jos Plattenkamp, which sadly cannot be here today.
Okay, it's fine.
But my work is basically a follow-up of his research, and I'm very proud that as his student and mentoree, I'm receiving this prize, which honors his work as well. Thank you so much again. Today I'm bringing one single aspect of my research. I hope you enjoy the presentation. I'm trying to translate into you the more warrior or the spiritual warfare aspect of the society I'm working with. And I will bring an element that connects with their past, but that is currently connecting also with their own future, and with not only their own, but also with Southeast Asia and the interconnection between China and Southeast Asia at the moment. The title is The Lanten Yao Moon of North Laos, a Taoist society in the periphery of the Chinese Empire. This is it's working. The parts to discuss today are four. Who are the Lanten? I will bring a concept to you that has a dual connotation here. We have Levi-Strauss' concept of being raw and cook, but in Chinese concept, it is a very deep and old concept as well. I will bring this back to you later. Then I will introduce the spiritual war and Taoism, the conquering of the forest, the taming of demons, that is the title of my thesis, and why this is so important in the Lanten case. And finally, the role of the Lanten Yao in today's geopolitics, and why anthropology is so important in 2024 and the coming years. Oh. Good. So, the Lanten call themselves Moon, which means person. It's a common phenomenon that we find all around the world. But they also call Lantian Yao in Chinese, which the French translate as Lanten. Lantian Yao means literally indigo Yao dye. Okay. And they are famous. They have been named Lanten since centuries because they wear indigo Yao dye in their clothes. We are dealing with a society that is self-sufficient. They produce their own clothes, they organize their own food, they use Taoist manuscripts for which they produce their own paper using bamboo. Oh, it is animated. Paper plays a very important role in this society because it's used not only for manuscripts, but also to build altars and a lot of ritual artifacts. The social division in the society appears in this ritual production. Women are in charge of producing the paper, the clothes, basically of taming the forest, while men use all these objects in the ritual life. In these pictures, we have a typical entrance to a Lanten village, in which it is easy to recognize these panels in which the pulp of the bamboo paper is dry under the sun. We have women working with the cotton. We have the indigo Yao the indigo cloth being dry. Basically, women work non-stop all around the year, producing the material culture that is needed in the ritual life. And men do the same with different tasks. So that is why I call this society is a ritual economy, because everything is oriented towards ritual production. They are Taoist, but this is a discussion I have been having with my Chinese colleagues for decades now. Finally, everything is more or less settled. Taoism in China, especially when we go to Taiwan, is very different. It's very bureaucratic. It's an hereditary system in which the knowledge passes from father to son for various reasons. One is because the manuscripts that they use in the rituals are secret, so they are not shared with other people. And also because there is particular transmissions that go through a genealogy, patrilineage, that are very important. The Lantern case is quite different to that. Every man in the Lantern society is ordained, and there are reasons for this. In these photos, we see ritual actions. You see picture up on the right, Chinese writing on the test. This is a temple, because the Lantern don't have temples. There used to be a semi-nomadic society that moves across.
Shall I try to stop this?
Yes.
There seems to be some automatic
Option.
Yes, you have included some. Just a second.
Thank you. Well, it used to be a semi-nomadic society that stay in one place in the forest for up to 5 years. And then when the game started to reduce, because they base the economy on hunting, growing rice, growing cotton, and after a while the land lost its energy, its power. It's not so fertile anymore. So they move to another spot in the forest that they have identified during the hunting parties. And then in this new location, they start a new village. This is totally different to other societies that lives in villages or in cities, especially when we are in Southeast Asia and China. I will come back to this topic later on too. Thank you, Roland.
I hope it was.
Yes. Good. All the society, from children to adults, are engaged in the ritual life, women and men with different roles, children and adults with different roles. And all the time, all the economy, all the energy of the society is directed to the ritual life. Roland has been presenting before, the Lantern live in a cosmos that is comprised of the invisible and the invisible worlds. And with this cosmovision, one needs to operate in both sides at the same time. For that, men must become priests and masters, because they need spiritual protections, they need weapons, they need spiritual armors, and the knowledge to deal with this invisible world. And women contribute with their own work and the production of all these artifacts in a very holistic manner. This is the connection, I call this the conjugal union of the yin and the yang, of the men and the women in this particular context, of the invisible and the visible at the ritual level. The year follows the agricultural calendar, so there is months for planting, months for harvesting, and then usually we have a few months that are the important months in which most of the rituals take place. So the whole year is structured in a particular way that is defined by the ritual mindset of this society. The production crops is rice, because rice has a soul that only rice can nurture human beings. Only a few animals can be used in the sacrifices. This is the cows, the pigs, and the chicken, meaning that no other animals are grown in these villages. So the whole ritual structure creates a very particular dynamic in which the energy of the society is channeled into a particular way. And this is very important because times are changing. And in today's world, we need cash crops. Women and men need to engage in modern economy. Everybody is finding a job. In the past, this few months in the year in which you are not cultivating rice, people used to learn how to perform the rituals, but now people need to go to the school, Lao schools, there is no lantern, and they need to engage in the market economy, finding a job out of the village. So there is a huge transformation going on. Just to clarify, I started my research in 2010 in this particular village and this particular society. When I arrived, there was no electricity in the village. The water was coming from the river. And today, we have the Lao-Chinese railway just passing through. People have smartphones, people have Facebook. The transformation in the last 20 years has been incredible. This is the area in which I'm working. The map is not complete because I'm still missing, after so many years working on this topic, I'm still missing the data from Vietnam. Basically, this is the borders between Myanmar, China, Vietnam, and Laos. Thailand is a little bit out of the map because there is basically no lantern. There is other Yao that belongs to the same ethnic group. And if you see the borderlands, what you see is most of the villages are in both sides of these borderlands. And we will discuss soon why. The area, when I started my research, was, let's call it, following the Tsomia concept, a remote place, if you come from Germany. If you are living there, you are at the center of the world. Still, there was no roads, travel was by river, you make your own bamboo raft to navigate, you go hunting into the mountains, which are quite challenging because there is primary forest. So usually what you do is you follow a river, and then when the river finishes, you try to continue through the forest, which takes days. Because of the complexity of the area, the lantern in Laos were basically having their own way of life. And I'm going to be focused on this topic today. This is the path of migrations. The lantern had their cultural origins in China, around Hunan province, a little bit up. And then they have been moving for a millennia. As the Han expanded in China, they pushed out all the societies that they found along the way. We have Thai in Thailand, Lao in Laos. They don't belong to these countries. They came from northern areas and they slowly migrate. They arrived in these places more than 1,000 years ago. The lantern and many other minorities arrived 300 to 200 years ago. And waves continue because of different problems. We have a transition between the Ming and Qing dynasties that result in conflicts. Those who were in the losing part have to move out. We have opium wars. There is so many reasons for different migrations. And all these groups just went to where they felt safe. These highlands that were not ruled at that time by anybody. And here we come to a concept. The concept I was presenting before, row and cook. And what is the meaning? Row can be considered an original society, a society that it is as it is in a particular moment. When this society is exposed to change, the culture starts to adapt in different ways. And then when we are dealing with empires, we have process of assimilation. An empire tries to change local societies by different means. There is diplomacy and persuasion, there is tribute and trade, conquest, religion. There are many, many ways in which societies try to engage to each other. The case I present here is based on the Chinese Empire and how they deal with all these ethnic groups that they have around. They call them barbarians because they were the civilized people. But this being civilized is a common concept that we have in Southeast Asia, all around the world indeed. What is to be civilized? If you are Thai, it's being Thai. If you are Lao, it is being Lao. If you are Chinese, it's being Han Chinese. If you are Thai, you is Central Thai. So each country has a way to understand what is manners, what is education, what is being civilized, speaking the language, knowing how to behave, knowing how to dress, take care of yourself, your own appearance. When we put these empires against these societies are civilized in their own way, but they are seen as barbarians from these political centers. So that is being raw in this view. Raw because you are not cooked, you have not been civilized yet. The London went in Laos as the rawest, among the rawest ethnic groups that moved from China. There is many people who didn't run away, stay in China, start engaging with local different groups, different governments, and slowly become more signified. The same happened in Vietnam, the same happened in Thailand, the same is happening today in Laos. Different people is cooked at different ways. I am being cooked in a different way wherever I move. When I come to Germany, I become German. I moved to Hong Kong, I learned how to be a Hong Konger. When I was in Laos, I became a Lantan when I in a Lantan village, but I became a Lao person when I was working with the government. We are flexible. I have the freedom to move. What we have now in Southeast Asia and many other parts of the world is all these groups that used to run away to keep their rawness cannot do that anymore because we have borders. So once you arrive to a place in which you cannot move anymore, you have to develop different techniques and different means to remain as you are. That happens in North Laos, and that happens to all of us wherever we go. We have our own culture, and there is many cultures around us. We need to navigate this reality. In the London case, there is two realities, the one we see and the one that we don't see. In this navigation, I'm bringing this graphic of a concept I call the moine or polity belt. Because what we have in this borderland, I go back to the map, China, Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, Myanmar, empires, red dots. Then we have polities, big cities, centers of civilization, where we have the big temples, where we have political powers, where there are armies. And then we have these indigo dots, for my case. This is the lantern. But we have other 39 officially minorities in Laos, 55 in other countries. There is many societies. And actually they are not 49 or 39 or 50. This is the numbers that the central states are giving. The lantern, indeed, is more than 20, 30 groups when we go to Vietnam. But they appear as one in this particular case. So the complexity of identity is transformed from the centers to simplify the complexity of the societies. What happened before was that all these people were navigating. So you arrive to a place when you are welcome, you stay. The moment they try to get taxes from you, or they become to try to change you, you move. This is the way to remain raw in the past. Yeah. So we had centers and we have periphery. And then I come to the comment I was doing before about Chomia. When we go to the Lantern case, if we think from Chinese Empire, Vietnamese Empire, Thai Empire, these people live in the borderlands where nobody wants to live. In a place that human people, civilized people, cannot live. But when you're a Lantern person, you're at the center. You are in the place where everything is easy for you. You have free land, you don't need to pay taxes, you don't need to participate, you don't need to send your son to the army to fight for the emperor or whoever is in charge. But then we have this bureaucratic system that applies to the ritual system. So if you are the Chinese emperor, you are at the center, and then you see barbarians in all directions. The Lantern live in the periphery, south periphery. They are the south barbarians. When you're a Lantern, you live in the forest. You are the center. You are the civilized person. Moon means person. You dress clothes, you cook your food, you make paper, you can write. You're a scholar. So what is your periphery? The periphery in this case is the forest. And then here we have an inversion of the system. When the empires look at the minorities in a particular way, the minorities take this vision and reverse it. And this is how they look at the forest. So the forest becomes the element to conquer, to tame, to transform. And this is what the Lantern do, and they are very good at that. They go to a place where most people will die after 2 or 3 days, and they open a village, and they keep their society. And they have been doing that for 1,000 years. The Chinese emperor disappeared. In Vietnam, we have a similar pattern. There is a lot of governments in these empires who didn't survive the last 1,000 years. And here we have the lantern and many other societies who live with a particular way, and they have been able to remain raw for centuries. How they do that? They conquer the forest. What we have here is the ritual to open the mountains, in which we have different guns. I'm holding one because I participate in the ritual. It's fun, and it's how I learn. I learned about this society by being part of it. In this particular ceremony, they are opening the eyes of this gun. Opening the eyes means connecting the object that exists in the visible world with an object that exists in the invisible world. There is a perfect gun with magic bullets that never fail. The moment you shoot it, you kill your enemy. It doesn't matter in which direction. It doesn't matter where the bullet is touching. The enemy is going to die. So this perfect gun exists in the invisible side. And we have a normal gun, almost cut. You put the powder, you put the bullet, you press it, and you shoot. It's very difficult to hang with them because you have only one shot. The moment you shoot, all the animals run away from you for 1 or 2 days. So you can imagine how good you need to be to become a hunter with these kind of weapons. But the moment you open the eyes of this weapon, you can kill anything. And this is used to kill all the deities in the forest. Some of them are killed by the gun, others are taken prisoners. Again, the lantern are masters of combining the invisible and the visible. What we have here is a particular ritual. These figurines, 3, represent all these unruly deities that live in the forest. The deities that will kill you if you don't conquer their fame. Basically, what we have here is a representation of the minorities themselves. If you are the emperor, the minorities are the enemy. If you are a lantern, the deities in the forest are the enemy. Again, the lantern prison masters connect the invisible and the visible. So these unruly deities become objectified in these paper figurines. They open the eyes of this mortar that usually is used to smash the rice grains so you can feed the chickens. And then they crush the paper figurines, they kill them. And this is public. And this somehow is a reflection of the public executions of these unruly minorities who were fighting the emperor. When the leaders were cut, they were slaughtered, the head was chopped, the heads were present at the entrance of the cities. And this is exactly what the lantern do with these deities. So it's a projection. It's a system that somehow is, well, it is called a metaphor of how real politics operate in the world. These paper figurines that are the embodiment of deities become compost that are bring to the rice fields so the rice can grow stronger. Meaning that when the lantern go to the forest, they colonize it. They kill every deity living there, or they kick them out, or they tame them and give them clothes and presents and make them work for them. If you remember the different ways in which empires deal with local forces, what the lantern do in the ritual system is exactly the same. And as it happens in reality, empires need to pacify the conquered regions, and the lantern do the same with the land. Every year, during the Chinese New Year, Lantern New Year in our case, we shoot again to all these deities, because some of them try to conquer back their own land. You have to kill them, or you have to scare them. So you open the eyes of the guns, and then you shoot. Here we have a differentiation with age. Young people is usually the one who goes shooting the guns, while the old people is doing the ceremony because they have the ritual knowledge. This particular picture that is opening my presentation is the opening of the eyes of a village. And this is why my particular research is so challenging, because not a single word is pronounced. You go to this ceremony, you have an old man, his name is Bunsin, actually his master father, my master father. We have one of our friends with a gun, 3 sticks on the ground, and 1 book in his hand. If you are attending this ceremony, you are going to have the same information you are having now with this picture. You have a man with a book in his hand, eyes closed. After 15 minutes, he's going to ask the guy with the gun to shoot. 3 sticks, 3 shoots. The ceremony finished, they go home, it's done. What is happening in the invisible side? And that is the complexity of the case. Because the visible is very obvious. Somebody is shooting a gun, somebody is doing something. In the invisible side, there is war. This is the conquer of the forest. The 3 sticks means the 3 realms in the invisible side. There are 3 kings, there are many deities, many demons, there are hungry ghosts of people who died before. You need to kill them all or scare them down. There is a huge narrative going on that the priest is presenting in his mind. I use the metaphor of playing a movie. He plays a movie, he tells this story, he sees all this happening and uses his magic to make it real. The book is alive, it's a living manuscript. Inside of this particular book, there are officers, there are celestial officers, deities, who must be present because they are helping him to carry out this action. We have content in the book too. It's a book I'm translating right now. That is my newest article. The content comes as a way of encryption because it's not Han Chinese, it's Lantern Chinese. That is written in a particular way that only a priest can read. So the interesting case that we have here is a case that no Chinese people can research at all as a Chinese person. Because even if you see Chinese characters in the book, you cannot translate it as a Chinese person. You need to learn to become Lantern so you can understand the meanings of all the names, all the actions, which in many cases is just a reference, 2 characters that refer to a name. But this name is the name of the main characters in this story. It's the general who goes to the forest and kills off these deities. So the moment you identify this name, you can play the movie in your mind, you can become oppressed. So basically, every lantern is a priest and a master, and so is a warrior. In this world, learning how to use the guns, because until 1975, all this area was in war. So it was a need to be engaged in this kind of warfare, because warfare was normal life for these people. And Taoism shapes all this cosmovision, how they see the cosmos, but also gives the tools to interact with it. How can you deal with these deities? Taoism tells you the names, gives you the instructions, you have the books, you can become an actor in this movie. Here, we are, because it's, as I said before, everything is changing, as everywhere, all the time. Nothing but deities are static in our world. Deities remains the same year after year. We get old, we die. Everybody change. So all the things I'm talking about, all this belief system is just an academic research, actually a brick, 550 pages that is going to be a very thick book, or there is something here we can learn. And here comes the case. My job is not only doing research about the lantern laws. I'm studying also Chinese soft power, geopolitics, how China is expanding with the One Belt, One Road. And what I see, what we see, is that all these systems that were used in the Tang, during the Ming, during the Qing, are happening today. The same ways, the same techniques. Exactly what the lantern have in the ritual system is how China is behaving today. So learning the lantern ritual system is very easy to anticipate what China is going to do in the future. The minorities in the borderlands of Myanmar, Laos, Vietnam, and China are playing a crucial role in the One Belt, One Road, because every country is seeing them as their own minorities. But these people are raw, these people are wholes, these people are societies of their own. So all the lantern across these territories are unifying themselves. You have lantern in Laos who can cross the borders today to China, can go to Vietnam. And again, in Laos we have 49 minorities, but it is many of them. So if you can somehow engage your own minorities in networks of exchange, you can activate the borders, you can connect the countries. This is happening now. China is using this to expand soft power through the borders. Every year we are having a Yao festival in which every Yao in these countries, but also those who fought the CIA in the Laos, those who ran away to France, everybody who is Yao is invited to join these festivals and participate in them, and then become part of a particular community that exchanges information, create business, and bring a piece of culture with them. It's happening all the time, every year, and it's accelerating because the borders are being more and more open today. We also have other problems. We have to deal with something that is very important in today's societies, the spiritual ownership of the land. If we go to Germany, everybody has a contract for a space, but then when you come to these societies, owning the land doesn't mean that you own the fertility of the land, because you need to have a contact with the deities. You need a deeper contact with the cosmological domains in which this land is linked to. And then we have governments trying to do projects. We have a new railway in Laos. I'm working on that. I'm presenting this topic next month in China. I'm not sure if they're going to like my article. Let's see. Because when you put a railway, you cannot go doing zigzag just because somebody has a piece of land here. Usually you need to make a straight way. If you are making a dam, you cannot decide we are going to make a dam in this part of the river, but you can keep your house. Your house is going to be under the water. And then we have a lot of ethnic groups that are fighting against that. Dams projects have been cancelled. Railways have been postponed. There is a lot of games going on. And we need to understand these concepts from different points of view. My case is important now because basically there is a large piece of land that belongs to the lantern. There is a Thai, Japanese, Chinese consortium that wants to build 2 small cities there. It has taken years because there is not an agreement how to do that, how to place, how to make happy the deities so they are willing to move to another place, how to make happy the lantern because you are not given a new land because the land today has been already given. You have another village next to it, so they need to be move far away. So this is something that we have to learn how to deal with. And then we need to understand how local societies function to have real policies. So if you want to develop cash crops with the lantern, you need to understand that they have a ritual economy. They need cows, pigs, and chicken for the rituals. You cannot tell to them, oh, stop growing these cows, just have ducks. They will never do that. They can have 1 or 2, but they are not going to stop growing the things they need to survive in the cosmos. And each society is different. There is hundreds of projects, NGOs, failing badly in the world because they bring their beautiful plans that work fantastically when they develop them in their office, when their Mac computer, and then they go to the place when they have to be implemented, and then they don't know how to deal with local governments and bribes. They don't know how to deal with local deities and rituals, and everything fails badly. So with the lantern case, I have all of this as an example because the reality is so complex, and the location now is key for many developments taking place in Southeast Asia. And more important to me, And here comes the transformations that the Lantern are facing. They face a challenge that Europe had 100 years ago when the industrialization, the first, the second, the third, the fourth industrialization came to us. A challenge that we are facing today when all the kids are playing with Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, getting sick because they have to challenge, they have to deal with so many realities happening at the same time while going to the school and doing other things. So everybody's dealing with modernity in different ways. But for the Lantern, it's especially difficult because they are moving from a non-marketized economy that is based on rituals to a world in which you need to learn a lot of things. Languages to survive, Lao to work with the Lao government, English if you want to work with tourists, Chinese if you want to work in a Chinese company, how to use the smartphone, how to use the apps. I mean, it takes our whole life to learn these things. Electricity arrived to my village in 2010. I was bringing the first phones because I need to talk with my priests and masters. So I give them phones so I can call them. It was easing my job. Now everybody has a phone. We have women that in the past, they were devoted to produce the cotton, indigo dye, all these local products who are getting scholarships to go to universities, which is fantastic. But then they are not coming back to the village to have the traditional life, because at the moment you have a degree and you can speak languages, you want a better life. It's so simple. Everybody wants a better life. Everybody wants to have a better phone, a better car, a car. These people was using basically old motorbikes. Now they want to have a new motorbike. Everybody is moving on. You have hats made of bamboo. Now you want to have one with bricks. And this go on. You want to have what is normal for us. What is the price? You don't have the time to deal with your traditional life. You don't have the time to sit down and learn how to read these manuscripts. You don't have the time to perform ceremonies. What we have seen with Taoism in other societies is a specialization of the ritual expertise. Instead of having a village with 500 men, all of them becoming a ritual expert, we have 10 or 1 who become the official ritual expert, a priest, like the Catholic people, Christians in general. We have an expert who operates on behalf of the whole community. I expect this happening if the community can keep their own culture. To help them these years is why we start so many projects in Laos. And some of them was digitizing manuscripts, because these manuscripts, some of them are dating for the 1750, 200-300 years old. They cost a fortune. And then we have a lot of collectors, sadly, a lot of researchers who go to the village and see, oh, this manuscript is so interesting. I would like to have it. How much you want for it? $100? No. $1,000? Maybe. So if you have enough money, you can start having these artifacts. The problem is, as we know with material culture, there is a threshold there in which when the objects disappear, the meaning of the objects start to disappear as well. Because knowledge, ritual knowledge, it is connected with artifacts. If you remove the artifacts of a society, a lot of information is lost in the process. So we have a project to digitize 2,120 manuscripts, 100,000 photos, 10 years in the making. I collect all the oral stories that I was able to, 150 from every single village. We are having a new project starting this year in which I'm bringing designs from museums. When French explorers arrived in this region many years ago, they saw amazing Taoist dragon robes with a very rich embroidery, and they bought them, most of them, all. So now I'm going to museums, taking pictures, trying to bring these old designs, and we are teaching the young women how to do that again. In a way that is not only ritual, but they can sell all that to the tourists. So it is a matter of investing in the ritual life, but also giving them a career, a job, making money. We have opened several schools for the Lantern boys, because in the past, you learn from your master, you learn from your father, but today, your master, your father, everybody is busy working, so nobody has time to teach. So what we do is we give a salary to one of the persons in the village, and he's teaching all the boys at the same time. It is working. we have been doing that since 2014. And we have an entire generation who has learned how to read the manuscripts. Manuscripts that, if they sell or get lost or get destroyed, can print because we have digitized it. So all these things are helping a little bit. Yes, a little bit. But basically, this is what we have been doing for the last years. If you want to learn more about my research, my projects, this is the website. I try to keep it updated. I have not been updated for the last months. But I promise next week or next month it's going to be with all the papers and all the things and all the information in case you want to have a look at what we are doing in Hong Kong right now. And as a final words, I would like to honor my master, Jos Platenkamp. So my research is devoted to follow up his work, and in my particular case is I honor by giving it to him. So thank you all.
Amazing, thank you. Only yesterday I told you what an incredible work this is in my view, and I think now everybody understands why I said that. Really, thank you very much. But now I think it's time for a little break, and Abbas, would you perform for your second time? Thank you.
So Leute, wie gesagt, ich bin hier heute alleine und ich brauche immer eure Unterstützung. Was ich brauche, ist, dass ihr mit mir singt. Geht das? Letztes Jahr war super, da war nur schöne Stimme hier und das war gut. Und dieses Lied, genau, das ist Sklaverei und das ist wie Chor. Und das wäre super, wenn wir hier verschiedene Stimmen, jeder singt mit seiner Stimme. Genau. Ich mache erst einmal a cappella, okay? So, ich sage, Jamawale Medina, Lelandau, Wale Medina, was ihr sagen soll, ist nur Genau, und mit verschiedenen Stimmen, weil die andere, die kann sagen,